Good afternoon, everyone. This is Rahraw Omarzad, the director of Center for Contemporary Arts Afghanistan and its Women Arts Center. After the re-emerging of the Taliban, I have evacuated to Rome by the support of Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Culture, with the invitation of the Castello di Revelio Museum and through the effort of Caroline Christoph Bakargiov, the director of the museum. Now I'm living in Germany and working between Italy and Germany. Yes, I have rescued, but hundreds of artists, female and male, are still living under the severe security and economical threats. And I will do my best to draw the attention of international community to support these artists. So my talk today is focusing on this goal. And this talk, in fact, is the pain of a nation that has fallen into the trap of national and international conspiracy. Thanks in advance for listening to this talk with patience. Afghanistan, due to its economical poverty and geographical location, it has always been a victim of the national interest of others, which have led to political and military aggression and invasion of other countries. And this nation has been forced to defend itself against the imposed war. But this nation has been called a warlord, while they are not warriors. On the contrary, they have resistance for peace and dreaming peace, but facing more and more violence. After 1978, an imported and imposed Soviet Union socialism started a war that is still going on and has resulted poverty and misery in Afghanistan. And now the Ukraine war is another example of the expansionism powers that Afghanistan has fallen victims to over the years. Power seeking and violence under the name of Islam is another factor that has increased poverty and misery and perpetuated the war in Afghanistan. Slogan of democracy eventually lead to the re-emerging of the Taliban. Unfortunately, Afghanistan once again plunged into the misery and ignorance of dark thinkers. Once again, Taliban alongside of ISIS have posed a great threat to the present and future of Afghanistan. Efforts are being made to institutionalize fundamentalism, extremism, and backwardness in the education system. This is a great threat not only to the future of Afghanistan, also to the future of the world. What is the cultural and artistic situation after 15th of August? Art is at risk, art works at risk, art center and institutions at risk, and art at risk are the four interrelated issues. The artworks of National Museum, National Gallery, and National Archive are at risk. It's either destroyed or stolen by individuals or by governments. Since few months, the Taliban have started digging around the Buddha Bamyan based on personal motives and smuggling antiquities. There are two main threats against the art institutions, either reopened or closed. The first threat is if the Taliban close the art institution or some departments such as cinema, music, and sculpture, and impose severe restriction on the other sectors. In the formal art education institutions, around 5,000 students were educated. What will happen to them and to the future of Afghan art if they cannot continue their education? The Taliban are ideology and politically opposite to the fine arts. But if, under the pressure of international community to attract global support, they reopen the institutions, in this case, my impression is that freedom of expression, thought, and choice will lost. Efforts will be made to put the art and artists at the service of Taliban's thought and views and their strategic goals. So, the Taliban ideology will influence the art and will raise a new debate in the history of Afghan art. What is the fate of the art in a country where its students, young artists, and the new generation are in the service of extremism, fundamentalism, dark thinkers? In this case, Afghan art will experience a setback that will take many years to recompense. If the art institution operate under such a condition, then it is better to be closed. Fortunately, the Afghan National Institution of Music, including of 280 teachers, students, and staff, on December 2021, were flowing from Doha to Portugal, where the music school will be revived and the students will continue their education. And I hope the same for the Women Art Center and CCAA. I established Center for Contemporary Arts Afghanistan in 2004, and it is Women Art Center in 2006. To combat against present fanaticism, constraint against women's artistic activities, and to giving young generation to chance to express themselves and to improve their artistic talents and individual and creative artists and implement a new way of looking at art for Afghan society toward peace, justice, democracy, and civil society, supporting the sustainability and institutionalization of these beliefs. The institutions was soon considered nationally and internationally based on its valuable activities and the support or then the international support, with many national and international exhibition and cultural exchange programs. And this reputation attract the attention of fundamentalists, fanatics, and the Taliban. They also think of contemporary art as a Western culture. I have always been published in the international publication as someone who encouraged Afghan women to contemporary art and defender of women's rights, freedom of expression. In 2016, after the suicide bombing in French Culture Center, I had to close the center. So in 2016, I have closed CCAA and its Women Art Center and moved to a new and silent location. Now, the artists of this center, especially the women who are still in Kabul, are under the several security threats. I hope my lovely students can come out as soon as possible. Luckily, the asylum application of a number of artists of CCAA have been granted in Germany. Hence, I appeal to the German government to save the life of the remaining female artists and cultural figures from several security threats and possible death, and to consider my proposal to relocate the Center for Contemporary Arts Afghanistan, CCAA, and its Women Art Center in Germany. I envisage expanding on the original themes and to adjust the name to CCAA in exile. But there are also other hopes behind this darkness of Taliban. First of all, I believe that the Taliban will not be able to stand against the will and desire of a nation and will eventually fail. And the Taliban supporters will suffer the fate of the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. A remarkable number of Afghan artistic and cultural figures who were at risk have migrated to other countries, particularly in Europe. Afghan artists at risk are the great force and energy of Afghan art and culture. After migration, if they are forced to continue their life with non-artistic work and become inactive in the field of art or become isolated, in this case, Afghan art will lose a great force and energy. This means that two parallel currents inside and outside the country treating the future of Afghan art in two different ways. To prevent these parallel treats, Afghan artists in abroad as a great and constructive artistic and cultural force should be given the opportunity to upgrade their capacity by gaining new knowledge, experience, and artistic creativities as a major force for revival Afghan culture and art, its development, especially in the post-Taliban era, so that we can see a forward-looking, innovative, diversified, and admirable development in Afghan art. Therefore, I suggest not only shelter, but also support for these artists. My request, especially to the countries that had a military presence in Afghanistan from 2002 to 2021, under the slogan of fighting extremism, Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, is I, together with the support of a large number of artists inside and outside of Afghanistan, would like to ask them to save the life of the remaining artists and cultural figures from death and several security threats. Today, many artists and art masters are unemployed. Therefore, paying salary and financial support to these artists is necessary and vital. Obtaining an Afghan passport and Pakistan visa, which takes months, has become a serious obstacle to rescuing artists. The price has reached more than $1,000. In particular, artists who are threatened by the Taliban and lives in a secret cannot go to the passport office for days and revival their identities. So what happened to these artists? Is it not possible to transfer these artists with ID card? For evacuation of Afghan artists, we need a coordinating and networking center between the art institution, museum, galleries, universities, and other related art centers to provide art residency, scholarship, sponsorship, and some other possibilities to save the life of young, talented artists, giving the various dimension of supporting artists. There is a need for an international union to defend the right of artists. I hope that the United Nations and the government that intended to negotiate or recognize the Taliban government will make their support conditional on many issues, particularly such as equality, the right of individual to freedom of expression, freedom of movement, and freedom of artistic creativities. Thanks for your attention.